Hi, this is Serene here, and welcome to the Goal Nutrition and Diabetes podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about the power of produce. So, lots of talk about fruit and vegetables. And so, hang with me because we're going to learn about how it fits into a well-balanced diet, how it helps improve more added nutrition to your food intake, and also how it can impact weight management, weight loss, and the ability to better manage blood sugars. So type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, how it can help with diabetes prevention, all of that. So we're going to cover that throughout our podcast today. And I'm a registered dietitian and a certified diabetes educator. And so I like to help teach people evidence-based information so that they can help make their own decisions and they can be empowered to make educated decisions on their own health and well-being. And I also help people manage type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, help prevent type 2 diabetes. So a wide range of things, and produce is something that impacts all of these things. So I'm excited to explain some things to you today and help you understand why fruit and vegetable intake is so vitally important. Um, they are powerful. They are full of nutrition and low in calories. And you may hear me say that a few times because it's so important to understand that. And when it comes to the amount of fruit and vegetables that you want to have each day, it is recommended to have 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit every day. So what does that look like? Well, 1 serving is 1 cup raw or a ½ cup cooked. So you can kind of figure that in however you would like throughout your day, but people find it easier than it sounds to get the appropriate amount of vegetables and fruit in every day. So here's just some tips as we get started on how to choose what kind of fruit and vegetables that you're going to eat. How do you pick out your produce? How do you even know where to start? So first of all, if you can purchase seasonal produce, so depending upon where you live, you know what produce is in season and when. That is ideal if you can get seasonal produce. You can support your local farmers and you can have an opportunity to eat some really delicious fresh food. So that's one way to do it. Another is frozen. Don't underestimate frozen vegetables. They are delicious. They have the nutrients in them, and it's easy to buy them ahead of time and have them put aside. And they really do have a fresh taste to them, especially if you can cook them just right. It's a great option to purchase some frozen produce. The next is canned. You can always buy canned. Maybe you're going to want an assortment of all of these. That's what I do. You can watch for canned fruits and vegetables to go on sale. That's a great way to store up and have things on hand. You can add them to dishes, add them to even like fried rice or things like that. Or you can just eat them on your plate as part of your meal. But canned vegetables are also a great way to get some produce, canned fruits, and vegetables. Then just kind of use your own senses while you're picking them out. Look for freshness. If you're buying fresh produce, make sure it's fresh. Look for wilted leaves, look for signs of mold or overripeness. And there's certain vegetables people like at different ripeness. So pick what you like, but just kind of be aware and look through them as you pick out what you're buying if it's fresh. Then plan ahead. Plan ahead to have fruit and vegetables throughout the day. So plan them in your different meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Um, and think about something they call the plate method. And that is that half of your plate for your main meals is full of produce, namely vegetables, but also fruit if you would like to include some of both. But if you pictured that half of your plate was full of produce and a fourth of your plate of protein, a fourth of your plate of carbohydrate, imagine how well balanced that would be, how nutritious it would be, and how low calorie it would be. Because you are probably going to be replacing one food with that produce, right? Maybe you're going to have a smaller carbohydrate portion than you're used to having because you're adding a bunch of produce to fill your plate up. So it makes a big difference, and that produce can really fill you up. But lots of nutrition to do it that way. So keep in mind the plate method. And then also remember how portable fruit and vegetables are. It's easy to slice up an apple, peel a clementine and put it in a baggie, have celery sticks, have fruit just already prepped and put in little containers. As you run out the door, you can grab them and have them either if you're going to be out running errands or as a snack between lunch and dinner. It just makes a really great addition to the day. So remember, they're portable, and you just have to plan ahead and have them ready to go. So as I mentioned, fruit and vegetables are packed with nutrients. They've got vitamins and minerals. They have antioxidants, which help to combat inflammation and cell damage. And they also have fiber, and that is an essential part of healthy digestion. It helps with blood sugar control. It helps with heart health. So lots of roles that fiber plays, and you're going to be able to get lots of fiber from fruit and vegetables, specifically if you can eat the peel. So an apple that's not peeled, a potato that's not peeled. There's lots of fruits and vegetables you can eat the peel, and that just increases your fiber intake. So that's really important. We're going to talk a little bit more about fiber as we go through this. And I always say with fruit and vegetables to follow the rainbow. Buy lots of different colors of fruit and vegetables. They all have different nutrients in them. So it helps you give kind of a well-rounded amount of nutrients from each of those different items that are different colors. And it will give you a variety. Try some new fruit and vegetables, learn how to prepare them differently. Just find ways so that you can really enjoy eating them. Now, produce can really help with weight maintenance. I mentioned that early on that we're going to cover weight maintenance and weight loss. So understanding the role that that plays is really important. Remember, produce is low calorie. You can eat a lot of them for very little calorie, and you're getting all that fiber. The fiber is going to help you stay full longer. And that is one of the roles it plays in weight management. So say you filled half of your plate with produce. Imagine how much less calories you're going to have with that amount of produce and still have something that's really enjoyable. So that is one way that you can help with weight loss. Another is to have fruit and vegetables for a snack. Now, if you eat some fruit or some vegetables and you feel like it's just not quite enough, it's also really helpful to pair it with some type of lean protein. So something like apple slices with peanut butter, some grapes with a string cheese, vegetables and hummus. That's the type of thing that can help keep you full longer in between meals with little calories, but also having that little bit more protein is also helpful in keeping you full longer. The fiber plays a really important role in the production of a satiety hormone called GLP-1. You may have heard of this or thought about this when you hear about a lot of the medications that are being used for weight loss, the GLP-1s. That is a hormone that is naturally produced in the body, and you can help your body produce more of it by eating more fiber and also the protein and healthy fats. These all play a role in this satiety hormone, and you would be amazed if you filled your menu, so your daily food intake, with lots of fruit and vegetables. Have a little fruit or vegetable between meals. Have it lots with your meals. You're going to stay full longer, especially after doing that on a consistent basis, day after day. And it just makes it easier to eat less of other things. So when you're trying to lose weight, the idea isn't to be hungry or to go without. The idea is to find ways to have a healthy, nutritious, sustainable diet that allows you to lose and maintain weight. That is how you create long-term success with weight loss. So this produce is a key part of that. Even some people start by eating their fruit and vegetables first, or they have a small snack before dinner consisting of some kind of vegetable, so that going into the meal, they naturally eat a little bit less. Another way is just to reduce portion sizes of everything else, knowing that that fruit and vegetable portion you're going to have is going to fill you up. Now, also chronic disease prevention is a big part of the fruit and vegetable intake. If you have plenty of produce, you can reduce the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, and as well as high blood pressure and stroke. So just keeping in mind that the nutrients found in produce can help with all of these things. They help support your immune system, help regulate blood sugar, and just improve the overall function of your organs. So that is a really important part. Now, when it comes to blood glucose management specifically, if it can be helpful for someone, for example, with type 1 diabetes. When you bolus your insulin, a lot of times if you can start with the vegetable first to allow the insulin a little more time to get working before you start into the carbohydrate portion of your meal, that can help to lower those blood sugars after you eat. And so that's one strategy people like to use. And then another with type 2 diabetes is lots of non-starchy vegetables because they make little impact on blood sugars for someone with type 2. Typically, someone with type 2 diabetes can eat lots of non-starchy vegetables and do really well. So adding those to your diet is just a great way to increase your amount of food on your plate without really having as big of impact on blood sugars. So, and same with diabetes prevention. If you have pre-diabetes, so at risk for type 2 diabetes, lots of vegetables, they're just not going to make this impact on your blood sugars. And so it's a really it's a good addition to a healthy diet for someone with type 1 or type 2. Now, fiber and digestion. We've learned that gut health plays a big role in overall wellness. We want a healthy GI tract. Well, fiber does that. The produce that contains the fiber helps with digestive health, and it helps regulate bowel movements, prevent constipation, and it feeds the beneficial bacteria that's in your gut. So you have a healthier microbiome, and that is important for overall health. It also contains specific enzymes and water that can help break food down, so it eases the digestion. For some people, a cooked vegetable is just a little bit even more gentle on them than raw vegetables. If you can tolerate raw vegetables, eat all of them you want. If they're hard for you to digest, try cooking them. Cooked broccoli and cauliflower are great if you can't tolerate them raw. Same with cooked carrots. So you just kind of have to do what works best for you individually. But that's another way to really improve your digestion is eating plenty of fiber. Now, let's talk about fruit. This is where I see a lot of people, they're afraid to eat fruit because they have a natural sugar in them, which makes them a carbohydrate. But the sugar in the fruit is going to impact you differently than, say, eating a brownie, right? That doesn't have any other nutritional value. The sugar in the fruit is going to be easier on blood sugars. It's not going to raise blood sugars as quickly or as much, but because of the fiber, it's slower to digest and it is still providing all that nutrition. So unlike the processed sugar, the natural sugar in fruit comes packaged with fiber, vitamins, antioxidants, water, all these things slow down the digestion and help maintain a more steady blood sugar as opposed to a processed type sugar. So, if you want fruits, like fruits, eat lots of them. Get those 2 servings in every day of fruit. You can find some delicious fruits and think of eating the whole fruit rather than, say, the juice of the fruit. So a whole apple would be far better than a glass of apple juice. Same with the orange, the whole orange rather than a glass of orange juice. So you picture all the pulp of an orange that you're missing when you drink the juice. And because it is the juice, I would say a cup of orange juice is going to take at least 2 to 3 oranges to get a full cup. And so that increases the sugar intake because you've got 3 oranges instead of one. You don't have all of the pulp and all the other part that goes with it. So you're missing out on lots of nutrition, lots of fiber. So having the whole fruit is really important, but don't be afraid of the sugar in the fruit. Enjoy it and have plenty of it throughout the day. So whether you are adding fruit to your oatmeal, you're adding spinach to a sandwich, or you're just eating lots of vegetables for a snack, just embrace the power that produce can have in your well-balanced diet and enjoy some of nature's goodness.